My wedding turned into a war zone. Then my sister cut me off, and my dad threatened everything. You won't believe how my own wedding turned into a family meltdown. My sister cut me off. My dad threatened to pull his money, and by the end, I wasn't even sure I deserved to get married. My older sister has always been my dad's favorite. No matter how hard I try, I never seem to be on the same level with him, and I'm pretty sure she knows it and uses it to her advantage. Usually, I try not to let it get to me, but this past week really pushed me past my limit. I'm getting married next spring, and during a call, she asked if she could invite her husband's relatives to the wedding since they'll be visiting when she flies in. I said yes, mostly because my parents are covering the costs. But honestly, I know she's doing it for the attention. At least 4 of her in-laws will be there, and I know she's going to parade them around like royalty. At the same time, my parents were supposed to have their big 30th anniversary celebration this October, but they decided to postpone it because my sister, who has been living in New Zealand for the past 11 years, says she doesn't want to travel far until things calm down. Funny enough, she just took a vacation last month to Australia, which is practically next door. We were having lunch, me, my parents, and my fiancée, Emily, when they casually mentioned that they're moving the celebration to next year. I couldn't take it anymore. I turned to my dad and said, "Of course you are. The rest of us should just put life on hold until she feels like showing up." He got defensive, said I was being unreasonable and turning something minor into a big deal. My mom tried to soften it, saying they'd still do something small and that I matter just as much. But I wasn't buying it. I stood up and said, "Sorry, Dad. I know your favorite woman isn't around right now, but maybe it's time your wife took the top spot in your heart, not your daughter." Then I walked out. The next day, I started feeling bad and called my mom. She didn't answer. Instead, she sent me a text saying I was bitter, mean, and should probably talk to someone. That hurt. But honestly, what really hurts is how they've made my sister the star of the family, like she's the only one that matters, despite living overseas for more than a decade. My dad even blocked me. Emily's now worried they'll back out of helping with the wedding. Of course, my sister, always needing to be in the spotlight, called me. I ignored it. A few days passed, and neither of my parents reached out. Eventually, my sister gave up and texted Emily instead, just checking in. Classic move. Today, I stopped by to see my grandmother. She told me I should apologize. That my parents love both of us, but we're different and we're given different things. That made me wonder. Maybe I was too harsh. I don't know. I just want to feel like, even for one day, I'm the most important person to my parents. And I still believe the golden child treatment she gets should be addressed. Maybe I was wrong in how I went about it, but I still feel like I had a point. Quick background. I'm 27. Emily's my fiancée. I don't think my parents are awful people. They've just been unfair. My sister, Chelsea, is 35 now, and she and my dad have always had this special bond. She was reading novels by age 4. When we were younger, he used to take her along on work trips to Seattle, and she'd sometimes stay with one of his old college buddies who owned a bookstore. She ended up with a massive collection of books that my parents won't let go of, even though I've told them a dozen times to just send them to Chelsea or the bookstore guy. They still talk every single day, mostly about politics or global markets or whatever. That's not my thing. And sure, Dad tried connecting with me differently, took me to basketball games, bought tickets to playoff matches, but it always felt like an effort. With her, everything just flows. My mom and Chelsea don't have the smoothest relationship. They clash a lot. One of the big fights happened around Chelsea's weddings, yeah, plural. She had one in her current country and another one back here in the States. My mom wanted her to have these custom-made dresses using this special silk, but Chelsea insisted on a tight budget and even planned to wear the same dress to both ceremonies. They argued, and in the end, she got 2 dresses, but stuck to the budget like it was law. And she didn't let me bring Emily to the local wedding. Said it was just for close family, but there were about 50 people there. Now my mom's been telling Emily she'll make or buy her a single wedding dress. They're close, but I can't help thinking Chelsea influenced that choice too. Chelsea also has a doctorate fully funded by our parents. She doesn't work for the family business. She consults occasionally and makes it look like she's doing us a huge favor by not asking for money. Our parents supported her financially until she landed a job. And every time she finished another degree, first her master's, then her PhD, we all had to fly to Europe for the graduation. I work full-time in the family company, so I know eventually we'll have to talk, even if they're upset. But that doesn't change how it feels. I could give you 100 more examples of how they've favored her, but in the end, it all points to the same thing. In our family, she's the main character, and I'm just the supporting cast. I want to make one thing clear. I don't hate my sister. I really don't. I just wish she'd let me have my moments, especially when they matter to me. Sure, the wedding is a gift, and I'm grateful. But when I see how they paid for 2 of her weddings, multiple gowns, and even her honeymoon, it's hard not to feel like I deserve that same kind of effort. Small update. This might make some of you feel a little vindicated. I got a message from my dad. He told me there would be a family Zoom call where I could say everything I needed to, and everyone would take turns. But there was a catch. If I didn't show up, he said he'd pull his investment from our business. So I agreed, but told him my fiancée, Emily, would be on the call too. So we joined. It was me, Emily, my parents, my sister Chelsea, and her husband, Matt. As soon as the screen loaded, I could tell Chelsea wasn't happy I was there. I was the first to speak. I let it all out. How I've been feeling for years, how I think my wedding is being handled differently, and even brought up some things others had pointed out, like the possibility that my parents planned to leave the business mostly to her. I said it felt like they valued her more. That when it came to serious topics, they turned to her. That she was always the bright one, the respected one, the golden one. And this time, no one interrupted me, which was rare. Then they asked if Emily had anything to say. And she did, bravely. She said she's always felt like an outsider, that she genuinely thought she was becoming part of the family. She said she supports me and stands by everything I said. Next, my mom spoke. She said she was sorry that I felt the way I did, that they had tried to do things I liked, and that they loved us both equally. She said she was sad that I never showed how deep my hurt really went, but she still believed I needed professional help. Then she turned to Emily and said she loved her, but reminded her that Chelsea was her only daughter. Then it was my dad's turn. He told me he was sorry I felt like he didn't care, but he wasn't sorry for loving his daughter. He said I never complained about the football tickets, the car, or the fact I live rent-free. He said he was disappointed in me. Then he mentioned that when they're gone, everything will be split 50-50 between Chelsea and me. And if I didn't want her involved in the family company, I could buy him out. He finished by saying they'd still pay for the wedding because they've always dreamed of doing that for their kids. But right now, they were far from proud. He also told Emily she should be more grateful and less entitled. At that point, I was already reeling. No real apologies. And worse, they went after Emily. But I held it together. Then Matt, Chelsea's husband, spoke. He said he never realized I had a problem with his side of the family and just figured his immediate relatives would come since I was at his brother's wedding. He said, no hard feelings either way. Finally, it was Chelsea's turn. And here's the thing about my sister. When she's mad, she doesn't yell or curse. She goes cold, sharp, straight to the bone. And that's what she did. She said she noticed me starting to pull away when I was about 11 or 12. She was home on a break from university, and I wasn't included in some of her talks with Dad. She said at 18, she legally agreed to be my guardian if something ever happened to our parents, which meant she had to be brought up to speed on certain matters. She didn't want to stress me out. She admitted she could have been a better sister and said she was sorry I grew so full of resentment, but reminded me that her career path had nothing to do with me. Then she brought up how I was also offered the chance to study abroad, but I turned it down. She reminded me that I'd gone on vacations with her, and apparently, those were funded by her and Matt, not our parents. That was news to me. She said the reason she asked about bringing her in-laws was that they were planning their trip around the wedding, and that when she got married, Emily and I had only been together 7 months, and she didn't want our parents to pay for someone she barely knew. She added that she refuses payment for consulting with the family business because she believes it's the right thing to do. But if I felt so insulted, next time she'd be happy to invoice me her standard rate. She mentioned her recent trip from Germany to the Netherlands, saying she was exhausted and burned out, and that taking a train a few hours away wasn't the same as flying 10 hours across the ocean. She also said it was our grandma who told her everything I'd said, because my parents were trying to protect me. And then came the blow. She told me she was done with me for now, that she thinks I need therapy, and that while she still loves me, she doesn't like me at all right now. That was the part that broke me. I've seen her speak like this to other people, but never to me. And there was nothing in her eyes. No warmth, no kindness, just distance. My parents said they could help me find a therapist, or I could do it on my own. But if I didn't start working on myself, the wedding would be the last thing they'd support. What gutted me wasn't just what she said, it was how she said it. Like something in her had truly shut off. I left the call with my heart torn up. Yeah, I'm jealous. I admit it. And Emily's been crying nonstop. But now, I realize I need to figure out what comes next. We're originally from Latin America. That's where all this started. Update. I haven't been able to sleep. I reread every comment on my post. Then, around 3 a.m., I tried calling Chelsea. I just needed to hear her voice. I know I've been jealous, but the way she spoke to me, it hurt deeper than I thought possible. She didn't answer, but Matt did. He said Chelsea doesn't want to talk to me right now because she feels emotionally drained, that I hurt her more than I realize. That if we talk now, she might say things she can't take back. And hearing that made me realize how much I actually love my sister. That maybe the real problem is me. I still feel wronged. I still feel like I got the short end of the stick growing up. But I also know I've become someone I don't even recognize. I told Emily that I need help, that I've turned into something ugly. No wedding until this is fixed. That's the only way forward. Emily cried again, but said she understands. My grandma told me she was the one who filled Chelsea in on what I actually said during the argument. My parents had just told her we had a fight, but didn't mention the details. Looking back, I'm honestly ashamed of what I said. Some of the things that came out of my mouth were just awful. Grandma told me they wouldn't have reacted like that unless they really loved you, and I think she might be right. Later, I asked my dad if I could take a few days off for my mental health. That's not really something people do where I'm from, but he actually said it sounded like a good idea. He told me they just want me to be genuinely happy, not faking it all the time. Also, I found out those books of Chelsea's. They're still stashed away in her old walk-in closet at my parents' house. My old room still has a bunch of my stuff too. My parents told me I'm welcome at Sunday dinners anytime I feel ready to come. And about those 2 weddings Chelsea had? I used to think she was just being over the top, but I've learned my parents were the ones who asked her to do it that way. My mom really wanted her to have extravagant dresses, but in the end, Chelsea capped the cost at €300 per dress, and they found 2 beautiful ones for around €600 total. It wasn't about excess, it was about compromise. The truth is, maybe I am jealous of her. Maybe she is better than me in a lot of ways. But I don't want to feel this way anymore. I don't want to keep hurting my family. So, believe it or not, I'm thankful for Reddit. The harsh comments, the tough love. They made me see myself clearly. I've got a long way to go, and a lot of jealousy and self-doubt to untangle. I'm even starting to question if I'm truly ready for marriage. If everyone had just blindly taken my side, I probably wouldn't have seen any of this. That family Zoom call was brutal, but it was also necessary. Update 2. These past few weeks have been intense, emotionally, mentally, everything. But I want to share, because honestly, you Redditors don't hold back, and I needed that. Some folks said I was rambling, and yeah, I get that. So I'll try to be clearer now. After stepping back from work to process everything, Matt, my brother-in-law, actually found me a therapist. I started seeing them right away. We've also done group therapy sessions, me with my dad, me with my mom, me with Chelsea. It's helped a lot. We're learning to communicate better, to actually hear each other, and to make sure no one in the family ever feels unseen or unloved again. I know it's a long road, but I'm committed to becoming someone better. My parents have told me over and over they want the best for me, and they do love me. I'm finally starting to believe them. I've also decided to move back home. After high school, I rushed to leave, trying to mimic Chelsea's path, do things independently, like her. But when my parents offered me the option recently, I thought long and hard and said yes. It's not a step back, it's a reset. Baby steps, but in the right direction. Chelsea didn't talk to me for about 10 days. Might sound silly, but that's the longest we've gone without speaking. It really hurt, but I know I hurt her too. During one of our therapy sessions, she showed me a collection of messages people had sent her over the years about me. Every single one praised my creativity, my work ethic, my kindness. She told me, we're different, but we're both amazing in our own ways. She also shared something I never knew. A lot of the time, when something happened that might upset me, our parents didn't even tell her, because they knew she might call me out and didn't want any drama. She joked, maybe you're the real golden child. You're the one they try to protect. She's talking to me again now. And honestly, she's been helping me a lot. Do I still get jealous? Yeah, but I want to turn that into admiration. Now, about Emily, my ex now, I have to admit something painful. Even though my emotions are my responsibility, she definitely fueled a lot of the resentment I had. She was always the first one to point out how much my sister got, how much money my parents spent on her, or what I didn't get in comparison. So, yeah, we broke up. Here's how it went down. I told her I was thinking about moving back in with my parents and maybe even going for a master's degree. She wasn't thrilled. She kept pushing about the wedding, but I told her I wasn't in the right headspace for marriage. I said maybe we needed a break, Then I gave her two choices. Either she finds a new place within 3 months, or she pays rent and covers some bills. My parents owned the house we were living in. She was furious. She told me I had to marry her. That if I didn't, the least I could do was let her stay there rent-free and cover utilities and groceries. She said I was breaking up with her out of nowhere. I told her that's why I was giving her time, and she earns a full salary. She never spent a cent of it during our time together. Then things took a turn. She said she was going to call her family, that she wasn't leaving, and that she would sue me for emotional distress. When she threatened to sue me for emotional distress, I panicked. It wasn't the first time she'd done something like that. The last time I tried breaking up with her, she told me I'd be alone forever and that she was the only one who truly loved me. I fell for it then. Not this time. I immediately called my family. They told me to get out of the house and lock myself out. Then they had me call one of Chelsea's old friends, someone she's known since kindergarten. He showed up fast, walked right in, and told my ex, flat out, "You can sue, call whoever, say whatever, but you're not staying here. And that 3-month grace period? It's off. You're leaving now." He took a full video of the place, documenting everything exactly as it was, and warned her, if anything got damaged, she'd be the one getting sued. Turns out Chelsea had a feeling something like this might go down, so she gave him a heads up. He came prepared and did the whole thing as a favor for her. A couple of my cousins stayed over with me until she packed up and left a few days later. Before she left, her father called me and told me I'd burn in hell for what I'd done. Nice. She still has a job at the company, at least for now. As long as she keeps doing her work and showing up on time, she's not going anywhere. And I've kept my distance. I haven't been back to the office since. Sure, there's some nepotism in our family business, always has been. But no one's losing their job just because things got personal. Honestly, I hope she finds love again someday, just not with me. As for me, I'm back at my parents' house. Single. And truthfully, probably unemployed soon. My parents think I should focus on myself and my mental health for now. Matt, my brother-in-law, has been one of the few people who's kept me grounded through all this. He's genuinely been there for everyone. We're building a real friendship now, not just family by marriage. My grandma told me something recently that stuck with me. She said no one in the family ever liked my ex. That they started having doubts about her when she got visibly upset after they didn't give her anything luxury for our first Christmas together. My friends? Turns out they felt the same way. A few even joked over the years that I should end things, but stayed quiet because they thought she made me happy. Looking back, it seems like everyone saw what I couldn't. I just hope next time I make better choices, not just in love, but in myself. I've even been thinking about starting over in a different country. It's a big decision, but for the first time in a while, I feel like I have real options. And Chelsea? We're working on things. She really is incredible. The more I get to know her, not the version of her I build in my head, but the real her, the more I actually like her. She's got her quirks, like putting lemon juice on everything, which I used to think was super weird. Now, it just makes me smile. And I have to say it, speaking my truth, no matter how messy it was, got me the clarity I need. I wasn't a hero in this story. I acted selfish, jealous, immature. But now, I can finally admit that I've lived a pretty privileged life. I'm still a work in progress, but I'm better than I was. Final update. Hey Reddit. My brutally honest but surprisingly supportive corner of the internet. I wasn't planning to post again, but someone pointed out a cruel thread mocking me, and it sent me into a bit of a spiral. But now that I'm feeling stronger, I wanted to give a final update and properly close this chapter. Also, because I've received so many messages full of kindness, tough love, and clarity. You all didn't sugarcoat it, and I'm grateful for that. So, here's what's happened. Since leaving the company, I haven't had much contact with my ex. But when she found out I wasn't coming back, and that the company was being sold, she got upset. My dad arranged for a close friend to take over. He made a deal. Every employee who wanted to stay would have job security for at least 3 years. No demotions. No surprises. I told my ex that her position was safe, but she wasn't happy, said it wasn't fair, that people were treating her differently now, that she felt disliked. I told her, calmly, that I hadn't said anything about her. But I also reminded her that, honestly, people weren't crazy about her before. And now that she's no longer linked to the boss's son, maybe folks are just done pretending. We had a real conversation, our first honest one in a long time. It became clear she was never in it for me. Not really. As for Chelsea, my sister, I told her about these posts. At first, she hesitated. Then she asked for my username and said she wanted to read through them. I gave it to her. Afterward, she told me it hurt reading how people tore me apart, but she was also thankful. She said I needed to hear those things. She teased me about calling her lemon obsession weird, and we laughed. The more I open up to her, the more I realize how much I never knew. Like the fact she and Matt lost 2 pregnancies and didn't tell me because I never seemed interested in their lives. She was scared I wouldn't handle it well. That destroyed me. She's not some perfect, untouchable sister. She's human. She's gone through things I couldn't even imagine. And even in her pain, she thought of me. She worried about how I'd feel. That's love. She's told me she loves me unconditionally. And now, she says she's starting to like me again too. Matt, what can I say? He's the kind of man I hope I become in my own way. Honest, strong, kind. My parents? They're not perfect, but they're trying. And so am I. For the first time in my life, I feel like I'm part of this family, really part of it. Not fighting for a spot, not competing with anyone, just home. The more time I spend around Matt, the more I understand why Chelsea chose him. He's patient, kind, and full of real, steady love. We had a long talk recently about them possibly having kids, and I told him honestly that I never want to be a reason they hold back. He got emotional and admitted they were considering putting the idea on hold until I was in a better place. Hearing that crushed me. I told him I'd never forgive myself if I ended up being the reason they missed out on building a family. Then my parents shared something I never expected. Now that I'm making big changes in my life, they said they're thinking of spending more time in Germany too, doing seasons here and there. The only reason they hadn't already was because they didn't want to be too far from me. Turns out, all that time I thought they were only orbiting around Chelsea. They were just trying to stay close to me. And I was too caught up in my own resentment to see it. So, yeah, I'm moving to Germany. I've decided it's time to start fresh. Chelsea and Matt are helping me with all the paperwork. I'm applying for a master's program and moving under an applicant's permit. Honestly, I'm excited. My parents have been incredible through this. They're helping me get my documents translated and certified. The money from the business sale, plus a small part-time job Matt helped me line up, will cover most of my expenses while I study. Until I find my own place, I'll be staying in Chelsea's apartment. I've already started taking German classes, and Matt practices with me when we hang out. It feels good having a plan again. That's also when I knew for sure that my ex was never right for me. When I told her I was relocating to Germany, her first response was, "Can I come too?" Then asked if my parents would support her since she wasn't getting a wedding now. I didn't even know what to say. Then she started posting bitter things online, blaming Chelsea, accusing her of scheming and ruining her life. But one of Chelsea's friends sent her a legal notice warning we'd sue for defamation, and she backed off. Now her posts are just vague, passive-aggressive jabs, no names mentioned, but everyone knows who they're about. I apologized to Chelsea for everything, especially for involving her in that drama. She just looked at me and asked, "Would you ever get back with her?" I said no. She shrugged and said, "Then I honestly don't care what she does." That was the end of it. I'm still working hard on my mental health. I know it'll take time, maybe even years, to get to a place where there's no jealousy left in me. But I know it's the right road. I haven't started dating again, even though a few friends suggested it. Right now, I just want to become a man I can be proud of. I'm moving across the world. There's no point diving into anything I'm not ready for. My therapist is amazing, and since our sessions are online, I'll keep working with them even after the move. Sometimes I look back on old memories and see them differently now. People did care. I just couldn't recognize it. And my sister? She's not just extraordinary, she's human. For the longest time, I didn't really know her. I was too caught up in my own pain. Now I know she has her flaws, her weird little habits, like pouring lemon juice on everything, and her own heartbreaks. But she's incredible, and she keeps reminding me that I'm not so bad myself. For the first time, I've stopped comparing myself to her, or anyone, really. My parents. I never realized how much they truly saw me and tried to support me in their own way. I don't take them for granted anymore. I'm building something better now, a future, a family bond, and hopefully, one day, a new niece or nephew. Thank you, Reddit. You gave me the push I didn't know I needed. Update 4. To the few of you who asked for an update, thank you. I recently reread all my old posts, and honestly, I felt 2 things, shame and pride. Shame, because I acted like a complete fool. Pride, because I've come so far. Things are different now, but in a good way. My parents are doing seasonal stays in Germany. We've picked up some hobbies together, tried wine painting, believe it or not. We're still getting to know each other in new ways. They may end up living here full-time, but for now, we're just enjoying the time we have. Their big anniversary celebration is still on hold, but they recently took a gorgeous trip together, a second honeymoon, and they seem genuinely happy. They've stopped worrying so much about the party and started focusing on themselves. Matt? He's more than a brother-in-law now. He's family, real family. I've become close with his brother too, and they've welcomed me into their football group, their weekly pool games, all of it. I've made new friends, but I still spend a lot of time with him. Chelsea told me recently that she likes me again, and I don't think anything's felt better than hearing that. They're planning to try for a baby again soon, and I couldn't be more excited for them. Sometimes, when old jealousy creeps in, I tell her. And instead of mocking me, she walks me through it. Step by step. No judgment. Just support. We still argue sometimes. We're human, but nothing like before. We don't hold grudges. We fix things. That's huge. As for my ex, I stopped keeping tabs. We tried being friends after the breakup, but her energy was just too negative. I blocked her. The last thing I heard is that she's dating someone new and telling everyone how relieved she is she didn't marry me. Honestly? Same. I got accepted into the program I really wanted. I arrived in Germany at the end of 2021 and stayed with Chelsea and Matt for a bit. There was a lot of back and forth about whether I'd stay in their city, but I decided to stay close. I've got my own apartment now, and am living the full student life, biking everywhere, studying, and still seeing my family a few times a week. I've had a few flings here and there, but I'm still not ready for anything serious. I want love, sure, but not until I know I won't let myself be manipulated again. And the best part? Update 5. I showed all these posts to my girlfriend. Yeah, I said girlfriend. She was shocked reading it all, but she knows everything now. And I'm really happy. Life is good. I'll be an uncle soon. I'm almost done with my new degree. I've got a real, loving relationship with my family and with myself. And yes, I'm now also obsessed with lemon juice. Go figure. To everyone who took the time to call me out, lift me up, or just read my rambling mess, thank you. You didn't just change my life. You helped me start it.